Compile Linux kernel Deb-Pkg target without generating Db-Pkg package. I am building Linux kernels the Debian way as instructed, for the most part, by the Debian Linux kernel handbook. So for the compilation step I use target Deb-Pkg, and on successful termination of make Deb-Pkg there are a few Debian packages generated in the parent directory. Oftentimes I find myself only installing Linux imagex.y.z.deb with the other 4 packages remaining unused. This wouldn't be much of a problem, but I keep finding that generating the package containing the kernel debugging symbols, Linux imagex.y.z/dbg_x.y.z_arch.deb, takes a significant amount of time. I'm wondering if there is a way to indicate to the Deb-Pkg build target not to generate debugging symbol packages.
The answer given by Marius Maciusi wasn't quite the one I was expecting, but I did take a look at some of the kernel build scripts and have found a workable solution. The script that generates the resulting Debian packages is script packaged build deb. Looking at this script, the portions that build the package with debugging symbols are surrounded by conditionals dependent on build_debug, which greps the given kconfig for config_debug_info equals y. So to stop generating Debian packages with debugging symbols, currently you need to disable the kernel config_debug_info option.
Kernel handbook suggests this. The build will use less disk space if the config_debug_info option is disabled. Debug info is only needed if you plan to use binary object tools like crash, kgdb, and systemtap on the kernel. This can be achieved by this command.
For those compiling a modern kernel version, 5.19+, these are the config symbols to change. Depending on the config file source, e.g., whether it's the Ubuntu version, you may need to run
You need to set as follows the following .config symbols. You should also make sure that config_debug_rudr is not set by commenting it out. All of the info to compile the Linux kernel can be found, quite authoritatively, on the Linux kernel home page.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.